Hello, this is just flip my lens over. Hello there, this is garage Feckup. Is it part 3, part 4, losing count. Anyway, you see the garage over my shoulder. So this is what it's looking like now. You can see it's now got the new roof layout on. I've used UPVC fascia boards to build the level back up to the same as the brown ones. You see, I had to take all the bottom brown ones off because they were all cut on an angle, so they all had to come off and they weren't compatible with the new ones, so I couldn't do anything with the old fascia boards, which were what is it, hardwood, I can't think now. Anyway, that colour, they're all that colour. So that side can stay because it's staying as it is, but I'm having to clad it all in timber now. So I've got tannalised tongue and groove, which I'm laminating the whole thing over in. So you can see the white UPVC is now being clad over. Yes, so the council actually want me to cover everything which is visible from the garden in timber. They want me to cover all the sides in timber, and the bits between the doors in timber, and they want me to change that personal door also to timber. I don't really want to change this door because it's one of these, it's a UPVC multi-locking. Now, it's been suggested to me that I can take the centre out and put timber in the middle, and basically just use a T&G planking down the centre and build the centre up again. Then I could stain the centre back near enough to the same as the sides. Basically, they just want a planked door on here. So if I change the middle, maybe that'll satisfy them. Yeah, so it's worked out quite well. If I move this ladder, so if I get up here, this is how it's worked out. At the moment the solar panels are still off. See, I've got the sheep lock next door, so they won't trouble me. I've inverted the original ridge tiles, which were previously flipped the other way and going back down again. So they're 12.5 degree ridge tiles made by Sainsbury's in the south of England. So I flipped them over and I've painted them with a black roofing paint. But these are not going to be seen because I've got to put one of these rails back in along the same line as the timber joist underneath, which all these screws are into. So I've got to put a rail back like that one, then fit the other solar panels back on again, and with any luck they will finish just about here. They should just about fit if I'm lucky. You can see the new ridge tiles are 2-piece flexible angle ridge tiles. One fits over the other, so they were all quite hard to put on because this angle here, you can't walk up it, you can't stand on it, there's no grip to the damn thing. So in order to put those ridge tiles on, we had to lie a ladder across the apex, and then put the screws in, drill it and put the screws in from both sides by leaning a ladder across from this side. So it wasn't an easy job putting those last ridges on. It was quite hard. Basically this is this here, there's a galvanized steel tray underneath the finishing edge where the roof finishes. So when the new timbers go back up, as I've done here, they go up against this tray. Then, to make it even better, I'm going to screw a little piece of angled plastic possibly in on the side of this so that the water doesn't run down that gap there. But it's not much of an issue anyway. You can see on this one I've done it slightly different. I've made the UPVC actually come up the side of this galvanized steel. So what I've done is I've put a plastic edge trim on both sides. See, one of these clipped over. It's only just pressed on. Might have the odd screw going through it, but I don't think so. It's basically just pressed on, and then I've put the new edging timbers, whatever you call them, barge boards, I don't know, but I've put the new edging timbers up. These are just shuttering boards from when the concrete for the foundation was poured. These are what the concrete was poured inside of. I've just wire brushed them down, and I've put some polyurethane stain on. Yeah, the tongue and groove's going on okay. Windows are 6mm polycarbonate, so if they get a glancing shot from a air gun or airsoft gun or something like that, they're not gonna break. Yeah, so gutters haven't been altered, they're just as they were. I'm using stainless steel screws, which are in the bag there. Now, what's that stuff? What's that? No, okay. I'll do that later. Yeah, I've got to move my ground drain as well. At the moment it's here, just about there, which is only about 2.5 meters from the garage. And UK spec, which I didn't know about, is that it's got to be 5 meters from the building. So I've got one of these whatchamacallit, flood crates things, submerged in the ground there with a barrier protective covering over it so that water only washes through it and dirt doesn't. So basically it's now got to be moved to there, so it's got to be 5 meters from the garage and 2.5 meters at least from a border. So I've put this about 3. So that's the position more or less where it's going to go. It might go slightly angled so that I can easily get a pipe from over there in a straight line to here. I've got to go and buy a pipe, about 4.5, 5 meter pipe, and I should be able to get it on a straight line right over. Right, roof's turned out quite nice. Let's have a look inside the garage. I'll turn the radio off.
That's what we're there for. I mean, we are humanitarians. That is the job that we do. That's what we want to do.
Radio 2.
Take risks.
Right. Yeah. So it's got a bit of light into the place. Putting new windows up at 2 ends of the garage. I've also got a lot of extra space up top. You know, I could stick a bedroom up there if I wanted. Don't think that I'm very likely to be sleeping out here though. I'm going to be able to sort out the lighting but now I've got the garage done. Yeah, so this is where all my old Unistrut shelving was mounted, and you can see I've now replaced it with twin angle irons, which are welded around the original steelwork which went across. So I've welded my shelves back in, all done in steel angle with plywood, 1/2 ply sat in it. I've got more cans of spray paint and under seal and things to go up on there. This is my Jeep. I've got to take some photos of this for a mate because he wants to see the details underneath the bonnet. So I'll just video that little bit, and then if he does watch this video, he can also see that. Yeah, how all the modifications are done. You see, this is a Peugeot diesel engine. Right, let's go around the back. Say polycarbonate windows, timber ends, it's all worked out quite nicely. You can see the galvanized steel trays under there. Basically any water that does get in runs on that tray and runs out under the out into the gutters outside. As it turned out, the Legit Compton garage, they supplied enough of this galvanized tray on the original job. It was just overlapped so much. Once I took it all apart, I realised I had enough to do it, so I just put a little nip in the top corner and bent it over at the required angle, and it's screwed down. Right, let's get this garage open. Right, my tank's currently out here at the back. As is my anti-tank gun, the M3. And that's how the garage is looking around the back. There, here is the rail. The aluminium rail that's got to go back up for the solar panels to be refitted. And as I say, I had to basically ditch all the old UPVC in what's the colour? Mahogany. That's it. Mahogany UPVC. I had to ditch all the old stuff because it wasn't the same shape, so it wasn't compatible with the tongue and groove pattern on the new stuff I had to buy. Well, I think it's come out quite good. If I go to the other side of the car parking area here, you know, yeah, you know, the crazy thing about this is the council wanted me to build this higher and change the angle of the pitch of the roof, and when I went to appeal with the government, and the government guy who came out didn't know what the council wanted me to do in terms of raising it higher to change the angle, and his opinion was that from this view that the whole garage blocked the view of the house from people standing in this car park. As you can see, there's absolutely millions of people who come to stand in this car park. Every day there's a constant stream. Just look at them. They're all wandering through here all day long. Sometimes you can't fight your way across this area for people just wandering around to come and have a look at the back of my house. Yeah, I'm being sarcastic. Yeah, so basically the government perspective was that the garage was blocking the view of the house. So they weren't interested, the government, on any other views. They weren't interested in the view I had inside my garden. They weren't interested in the view of any of the neighbours living around there. They weren't interested in the view from the road outside. The only view that they were worried about was the one in here, where all these people, excuse me mister, get out the way, you know, where all these people come to look at my house. This was the only view the government was worried about, and they refused my appeal to keep it as it was, with a low roof, based on the fact that this view was compromising the view of the house. So because they refused that, I had to go back to the council's decision, which was to make it bigger and block more of the view of the house, which is completely against what the government opinion was. There you go. You can't satisfy anyone in government, can you? Either local councils or national government. They're in conflict with each other. So what can you do? You have to go by the guy who's got the power, which is the guy down the road in an office who never really looks at the house and lives somewhere else. So that's how it's worked out. You know, I hated having to do this, and I still think it's been pretty much a waste of time, but now it's done. In some ways it looks more interesting, it looks more pretty, maybe it's given me more space inside the garage. You know, it's given me more storage area up top. You know, I can potentially plank an area out, put a little sort of officey area up top, maybe. I don't know. It's been suggested, or I've suggested, that I could weld a set of steps, a ladder up here, so that I could climb up a ladder and go in up there, you know. I could even have a fireman's pole over at this end, so you could slide down it, you know. What the hell, you know. Yeah, so it's coming to an end, this project. I would say there's always more to be done. I've got repairs to do on this tank, or further modifications, I should say. I've got to do the brakes, so I've got to tighten the tracks up as well. My anti-tank gun needs some repainting, but that'll probably be next year. It's starting to look a bit patchy. I sprayed it over in some NATO green spray cans a year or so ago, and the colour's gone a bit odd. It looks like it's been slightly camoed. Yeah, people are wanting me to start making all sorts of things for them. SOE spy radios, someone's wanting me to make them a blank firing Thompson. I'm currently working on a blank firing Sten gun at the moment, which I started some time ago, and sort of finishing it off now. Yeah, then I've got my Daimler Dingo project to go back to. Here's one of the subframes which I cleaned up and painted about 3 years ago now, I must imagine, and I've got all the wheels for it piled up behind that timber there, and the McPherson struts which I've modified. There's the old tracks off the Argo, the nylons. So once I get the tracks sorted out on the tank, the rubber tracks, once they're working better, I can sell the nylon ones off on eBay. Yeah, so it's getting there. Ooh. Someone gave me this door as an option to replace that door with, but to be honest, I don't think the council are going to go for that. Basically, they just want a standard planked door, so I'm going to have to chuck this door out, take it down the tip probably. It's a shame, but there you are. Yeah, it's just what they just want, a basic planked door. Turn the lights off. Yeah. Yeah, so all this work is to try and make the roof line more compatible with the one on the house. Yeah, well, it's cost me quite a few thousand probably in modding all this. Anyway, plus the legal costs. So I don't know, maybe it was worth it. What do you think, guys? Well, there it is. That's all the wood on the apex, all on, all trimmed up. Hey, what do you think? Look okay? Meow. Okay. Yeah. So I think it's all okay. Yeah. I haven't put any finish on the timber other than as it's come tannalised from the supplier. So the reason I haven't put anything on it yet is because the council sort of want it to go weathered. So if I put a treatment on it, it's not going to weather very easily. They seem to want it to go manky looking. So I personally would rather stick a finish on it myself, pretty much like the edging that I've put on, paint the same stuff on, or something slightly lighter so there's a contrast to it. But it's tannalised wood, but all the points where I've cut it around the edges, that's probably going to soak the damp in. Anyway, I think it's looking fairly good now.